Launching in T-minus 5. Hopefully, we don't have any problems. How's the weather, boys?
Go. Welcome back, everybody, on this Monday morning, December the 9th. It's episode number 132 of the Rod Pedersen Show, Canada's only mid-morning sports talk show. Pleased to be joining you from the DoubleTree by Hilton here in sunny Houston, Texas. It is the sunniest day of the trip on our last day. We're going home tomorrow. So a sports update before we continue with Jackie Mitchell. Mark Scheifele scored twice as the Winnipeg Jets won their third straight home game with a 3-2 victory over Anaheim last night. It was the 400th point of Scheifele's career. Also last night, Colin Miller scored in overtime as Buffalo beat the Edmonton Oilers 3-2. There are just 4 games in the NHL tonight, and 2 of them feature Canadian teams. The Senators host the Bruins. Later, the Flames are at Colorado. All the Philadelphia Eagles have to do to stop a 3-game losing streak is beat a quarterback who hasn't played in 3 months and hasn't defeated them in 3 years. The Eagles face a familiar opponent when they host the New York Giants tonight on Monday Night Football. Eli Manning is expected to make his first career start since week 2 because rookie Daniel Jones has a high ankle sprain. The Raptors are in the midst of their first official losing skid of the season. Tobias Harris scored 26 points Sunday to lead the 76ers past Toronto 110-104. That's the defending champion Raptors' third consecutive loss. The Raptors hope to snap their slide tonight as they continue their road trip against the lowly Chicago Bulls. This sports update for SeatGiant.ca. Stop paying U.S. dollars for sporting events and concerts. We have all major sporting events and concert tickets in Canadian dollars. Enter promo code RPShow and get discounts for RP Show fans. Visit SeatGiant.ca. And for Wendell Clark's Bar and Grill in Saskatoon, corner of Idlewild and Circle Drive. Right, Darren?
And they're watching.
See you at Wendell's. Are they watching today? Did we get a message from them?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so good morning, Doyle, and everybody at Wendell's. Back in cold Saskatoon.
Minus 28. Jackie, tell me about playing in the cold. What do you obviously don't miss that. What are some of the games you remember?
We played against Calgary. I think it was 2000, 2001. That's when they had Kevin Anderson and Mark Bo Richter. It was literally the coldest game in my life that I'd ever experienced. It was like negative 33. And so we were basically just running into each other. Nobody wanted to tackle. We were just like, just go down. You know, it was, and then we played Winnipeg in the playoffs that one year. I think it was 2003 or 2004. When, I'll never forget, it was so cold. We had our hands in front of the heater. It had the fire, and Terrence Melton gloves caught on fire. He didn't realize it. His hands were that cold. So it was, those are the 2 games that I take with me. Of course, you know, just the Regina Winners, you know, it was brutal. But, I made a home there. Other than that, those were the 2 that just stand out to me. When we came in, we were drinking hot chocolate. We were drinking soup at halftime just to warm up. It didn't help. But, yeah.
It's funny, you talk about Terrence Melton. Slick. Garrick Jones was talking earlier about Alfred Payton. Swack. Who are the guys in the CFL right now that have brands or nicknames like that era and before that? Can you think of any? Can you guys think? Yell them out at me if you can think of some.
I'm trying to think that have good nicknames. Speedy B.
Yeah.
Which
my buddy.
Yeah, our favorite guy or your favorite guy. I don't know. Who else has good nicknames like that? I'm having trouble thinking of any.
Yeah, it was a fun era of football. Who'd you say?
Wilder.
James Wilder. I am Wilder. Yeah, that's not bad. It was on our show just a week ago. Very original nickname, Doubles for Darian Durant. Yeah. Hey, we talk about, with the guys of your generation, I do a lot about the game changing. They say it's never been safer. Sprinkles from Clark here. The Sprinkle of Jesus from Cody Fajardo. Are you following the current riders, by the way? And if so, how?
I just pay attention to coaching. Because at one point I was trying to get back into coaching. I spoke to Richie as far as getting back into coaching. But other than as far as the players, far removed from that. I speak to O'Day once in a while. When Chris was head coach, prior to him leaving, like I said, I worked a few camps with him in Dallas. But other than that, not really.
Well, it's interesting when we had Mike Kershaw up here and you were sitting here watching it. There's some hook or attraction to coaching that I don't think it ever leaves you, or maybe the game never leaves you. That's obviously true.
It's the education that you want to give. It's the opportunity to learn, because once again I was a student of the game. So it would be games I would call out the opponent's offense. They'd be like, timeout, he knows our plays. It was just it's a chess match, and that's what it was. It was a chess match for me, to understand my opponent, to know what they were doing, how we were going to be successful against them, and that's what we were good at. So that's how I approached it.
So amateur football in America, whether you want to talk about Pop Warner or high school, and they say it's safer. Why, how different is it from your area? Is it as safe as they say? Because accidents still happen, injuries still happen, but concussions and that sort of thing are far more guarded than what they were.
It's a myriad of things, Rod, and some may get offended by what I'm about to say, and I hope not, but it's the truth. Coaching has changed. Development has changed. Education and the approach of the game has changed. The coaching aspect of it is, I don't remember so many injuries when we were playing. And the reason why, because we were taught how to tackle. We were taught how to approach. We were mentally and physically prepared. If you look at the last 15 years, some kids don't even play outside anymore. And that has a lot there's no physical activity. Everything is done in a building. Remember running on the ground. I remember running hills. I remember being outside in the elements. That was one of the reasons a lot of us were successful at Regina, because we would leave there in the winter, because you can't properly train and you can't get your body ready for that. So in doing that, that's a part of it. And then having the people who are managing, unfortunately, some are textbook coaches. They've learned a lot. I take nothing away from their skill set, but it's bringing, like, really, do you understand this game and what's happening and the turn of the athlete? Because we weren't as big as fast as these guys are now, like, no comparison, but I do think we were better prepared. Some look at this football as a hobby as well. It's not a hobby. If this is what you want to do, especially at a professional level or at a collegiate level, you have to be entrenched. You have to be indebted, and you have to be vested. Most of them think just because you have one or two good games, they can get on Twitter, they can get on the social media. Oh, I balled out. It's 1,000 to 1,000,000 people doing the same thing you're doing. So it's really the approach. As far as the development of the athlete, sure enough, the training is so electronic. It's so electronic. Like, we got an app that can tell you how to do this, how you do this. But if the body is not prepared, if the mind is not ready, and if you're not into it, it does you no good. Mm-hmm. That's just my aspect of it.
Got anything more for Jack?
Wow. No, that's pretty cool. How have you seen the game evolve, period? And from a defensive standpoint, because we've gone to more passing and we've gone away from the running, but there's still, how have you seen the game evolve?
I think the game has evolved due to the athletes. When you speak about the 6'2s, the 6'3s, when we were in younger ages, I remember the freak of era was a Javon Curse, was a Simeon Rice. You got guys 6'4", running 4.4s, 4.3s. You had just these few and far between, and that's what set them apart. But now, across the board, you got guys 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". You have DBs who are 6'2", 6'3". But then I ask you this, those DBs who are the 6'2s and the 6'3s, can they get in and out of cuts? Are they, preparing their bodies? So it's just a different development for me, and I don't think people really own in on that. Sure enough, I take nothing away from their ability, but like, as you stated, for the Ladafias, for the Omars, we could cover anybody. Like, I'm not saying it just to say so, but we can get in and out of cuts. We can change direction. Guys understood how to read hips. They understood, okay, you got this amount of time to get here to this distance. So it's just being a student, preparing your body, and making sure. But as far as the game changing, as far as the offenses and the defenses, guys are just bigger, faster. I think they're stronger because they are. That's just what it is. I don't know if it's in the food. Everybody says, oh, it's what they're eating. I don't know what they're eating, But the reality of these are some dynamic individuals. When you take the gentleman who plays for the Rams, Aaron Donald, like, he's just a freak athlete. When he's a special case. At one point in Ndamukong Suh, you mentioned the Cameron Wakes. Those guys are tiers in their development, because it meant something to them to develop their bodies. And of course, when you have the nutrition component, but as far as it's spread, everything is spread. So What I remember is Montreal used that for many years before I saw it here. The Patriots adopted, because now I'm get my athlete the ball and you let him do what he does. And that's pretty much what it is. You know, it's man on man, cannot beat you one-on-one. And that's what it's come down to. You get in the way, you know, of blocking, you skim this way, give him space, and you let them do what they do. That's what they get paid to do.
Let me just ask you this before we let you go. The Texans game yesterday, they didn't play, actually they played terrible. They look like the Texans from 15 years ago. How will that go over in Houston? How upset will their fan base be? How, what does the football team mean to them in this community?
The Texans community, as far as the sports, it is huge, huge, huge. They are very supportive of the Rockets, of the Astros, of their Texans. You know, it means a great deal. And, you know, one of the things that being here for so long, it's like you become somewhat of a sideline fan. I don't have favorites. I've never had favorites. I don't own any jerseys. I don't have any paraphernalia if it's not mine. I've always respected the game, but they are avid fans here. It's a great support group here. They do a great job of coming out and showing out for their organizations in every aspect. So I'm pretty sure they were upset, but hopefully they can bounce back from it, you know, and prevail for where they're trying to go.
Well, I'll tell you what, there are a heck of a lot more Jackie Mitchell fans out there. Would I be right? How about a hand for Jackie Mitchell here, where the fans get to see the guy under the helmet and see what the guy's about. So, Jackie, keep in touch, and I appreciate your time down here. Glad everything's going so well.
Absolutely. Thank you much.
All right, Jackie Mitchell here. We'll be back to the DoubleTree by Hilton right after this break on Facebook Live and listen live at rodpeterson.com.
You're watching Rod Peterson On Demand. For more of The Rod Peterson Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Peterson on social media.